Okay, we have further updates from the Russia-Ukraine conflict, where Ukrainian Defense Minister has denied Denis Shmyhal and Polish Defense Minister Kosyniak-Kamysz have signed a memorandum on the creation of a joint operational group of unmanned aerial systems. This group will become a platform for coordinating and developing joint initiatives, integrating the latest protection technologies and initiating new projects. Let's listen in to what Denis Shmyhal and Kosyniak-Kamysz had to say.
Окремі програмні продукти, до яких надамо доступ нашим польським колегам, для того, щоб вони могли бачити заздалегідь всі атаки росіян, зокрема ті, які будуть спрямовані потенційно проти наших сусідів, наших друзів. Відповідно, ми будемо розширювати цю співпрацю і також ділитися нашим, скажімо, програмним продуктом і інформацією, яка є в нашому розпорядженні, координувати нашу діяльність, наші зусилля якраз на військовому, на технічному рівні. Будемо посилювати співпрацю між нашими оборонно-промисловими підприємствами. Україна є світовим лідером у сфері безпілотних систем, тому ми готові розвивати спільні проекти у напрямку повітряних, морських, наземних дронів, роботизованих систем.
To jest współpraca pomiędzy zarówno siłami zbrojnymi, instytucjami badawczymi, naukowymi, ale również pomiędzy naszymi przemysłami. Na tym nam bardzo zależy, żebyśmy mogli tworzyć wspólne inicjatywy przemysłu zbrojeniowego. Jeszcze raz ją podkreślę, dronowa i antydronowa. To jest wielkie wyzwanie, to jest wielka szansa dla całej Europy, bo przecież to nie tylko o Polskę chodzi. Ale rozmawiamy i z Komisją Europejską, przedwczoraj rozmawiałem z komisarzem Kubiliusem o działaniach, które może Unia Europejska podjąć z innymi państwami flanki wschodniej, bo to dotyczy całej flanki wschodniej Unii Europejskiej i Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego.
Mohammed, of course, this comes after these recent drone incursions which have been happening recently. How important is this recent Ukraine-Poland drone memorandum in terms of these shifting balances on the battlefield?
I think this is a Polish response to the Russian escalation that was a very dangerous escalation, of course, which saw incursions by suicide drones into Polish territory. This did happen before, by the way, on several occasions since the beginning of the war, but never on this scale, about 19 or 20 drones penetrating Polish airspace at once from both Ukraine and Belarus and flying well into eastern Poland, causing a disruption in air traffic and the suspension of air traffic in the area. And Poland did shoot down a couple of these drones. And of course, since Poland could only shoot about 2 or 3 drones out of 20, this means that they have a problem with their air defenses, which were basically drained. The entirety of the European part of NATO, at least, they have been drained by supplying Ukraine with huge amounts of air defenses and air defense ammunition and ordnances, which caused an acute shortage in European stockpiles. And of course, this was very evident in what Russia, when these drones penetrated not only Poland, by the way, they penetrated Romania also. And even though Moldova is not a NATO country, but it is a neutral country that is not part of this war. But of course, Moldova is very supportive of Ukraine. So as you can see, Russia was basically conveying a very defiant message to the Polish side and to the entirety of NATO, telling them that any ideas about a settlement that would entail the deployment of European troops, 30,000 European troops, according to what the President Macron of France has said, in Ukraine, in the case of a ceasefire, will be considered a red line by the Russians, and these forces will be considered enemy forces and will be targeted. And I think that Putin, or the President Putin, or the Russian leadership, were just backing up their words with actions on the ground, and at the same time also they were testing the resolve of NATO. However, NATO did respond. Fighter jets did scramble in the air to intercept these drones. But however, on the other hand, the U.S. so far has not clearly condemned or acknowledged that this took place. The U.S. is still saying President Trump said, oh, maybe it happened by mistake. And Marco Rubio said that, oh, it's unfortunate, it should not be repeated again, or it should not happen again. So the U.S. basically did not respond at the scale that it was expected of it, even though U.S. aircraft did participate in securing Polish airspace. So now Poland moved forward with this agreement with Ukraine in a clear provocation to the Russians, telling them that now we will also help Ukraine enhance its UAV capability, especially that Ukraine only has its only capability or its only means by which they target the Russian interior or the Russian strategic depth with drones, where they target Russian cities and Russian facilities with. So this is what the Polands are coming at. They are trying to provoke the Russians and respond to Russian violations of their airspace.
Yes, Mohammed Osman, thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to get your insight on these issues. But that is all that